Hey guys, today I want to share with you what's in my pack for a 7-day backpacking trip on the Uinta Highline Trail. So I guess the first thing we should look at is what pack am I using. This is the Outdoor Vitals Shadowlight 45. If you've been following me for any length of time, you'll know that I love this pack, but as you can see right now, it's probably maxed out. In hindsight, I probably would have taken the 60 liter only because it has a little bit more flexibility than something like the 45 liter. However, I've never had any issues packing this thing, but I do think 7 days is testing the limit of this thing because I do have a full 7-day food carry. Before I get into the pack, let's go over some of the details of the trip. Initially, I wanted to hike the whole 100+ miles of the Uinta Highline Trail starting at McKee Draw. However, after speaking with the ranger yesterday, she was saying that pretty much all the water sources for the first 20 miles of that trip were dry this year. And with the way I have this pack loaded already, I really didn't want to carry 4 or 5 liters of water for that 20-mile stretch. People often skip this section, and I think at least for this time, I'll start at Leedy Peak, which will make it 84 miles or so. Some of the initial concerns with the Uinta Highline Trail are unpredictable weather, not a lot of exit points, and the fact that I'll be doing this solo adds a little bit more caution to each one of those things. So I think that's a pretty good general overview of the trail. Let's get into the pack. Starting here on the outside, I have my cook system. If you've seen any of my videos before, you'll know exactly what's in here. But essentially I have a 4-ounce MSR fuel canister, an MSR Pocket Rocket 2, a Bic lighter, and a bandana. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but the reason I have the bandana in there outside of that it's useful with cooking is that it keeps this from rattling around. One of the next things on the side is of course my Essentia 1-liter water bottle with a Smart Water Sports cap. Next to the water bottle is the Deuce of Spades ultralight trowel for digging cat holes. And also I'll be carrying bear spray. I actually have a new bottle of bear spray coming, but this is my old bottle that's expired now. The Uintas don't really run through bear country, but what they do run through is moose country. And so I always feel a little bit better having something like bear spray just to protect me against any kind of threatening animals. As I'm spinning to the other side here, I have my Garmin InReach Mini 2. That's really important for this, and I've actually heard of a few stories of people using this in the Uintas and search and rescue having to come out on horseback because of blizzard conditions and things like that. This wasn't really in July, but either way, if something goes bad out there, it's really hard to get out. So next we'll do my water filtration system. I made a previous video on a system very similar to this, but this year I've switched to the Canuck Vecto water bag. Last year I was using a Platypus 1-liter soft bottle, and that system worked pretty good. But this Canuck Vecto bag has this little clip here that will allow you to scoop water much faster. But the one issue with that last system I was using is actually collecting the water, and this will make it a lot easier. Also, I'm still using the Sawyer Mini. I haven't switched to the Sawyer Squeeze. This thing has never failed me. I've had it for quite a while, so I'll just keep using it. And we have a 2nd liter of water with the Smart Water bottle cap. One of the best things about the Uinta Highline Trail is that past Leedy Peak, where I'm starting at, there's water plentiful everywhere. It's just that first 20-mile section that I won't be doing that's usually notoriously dry. But anything after that, most people say they've only carried around 1 liter or 2 of water, so there's water everywhere up there. In the next pocket up here, I have my medical kit. I haven't really done a full video on this, but I've definitely made a lot of modifications to this little kit that you can get off Amazon. Typically, these things come with a lot of Band-Aids and gauze and other things like that. I've taken a lot of those things out and replaced it with things like ibuprofen, Tums, Imodium, and some other general medication. And another thing that's in here is an extra Bic mini lighter with some Leuco tape wrapped around it and some tenacious tape. So this thing still weighs right around the same or maybe even less than what you get it from on Amazon. But I think I've made it a lot more useful with just a few upgrades. And oh yeah, there's the tiny Swiss Army knife in here as well. And the last thing in this pocket right here is my compass. I usually keep this thing in the mesh on the outside, but since I'm running low on space for this trip, I have actually put it at the bottom of this under the medical kit and my water filter. I know some people don't like to carry compass and they like to rely solely on technology and things like that, but I just feel a lot better having a compass and a map in my pack. Spinning around to the outside here, you can see that these mesh pockets are extremely useful, but they're also extremely maxed out right now. This is one of the things I love about this pack is there's a lot of very useful space for a situation like this that I can really make things work even when they're not necessarily intended to. I think this pack gives me super great flexibility for a situation like this. So at the top of the bag here, we have my electronics bag. So this is just a 1 gallon freezer Ziploc bag. And in here I have an Anchor power bank. I have another one on the way. It's the 26,000 version. It's a lot bigger and a little bit heavier. My weight will go up by about 10 ounces or so compared to what this is. But I think for being out in the remote backcountry for 7 days, I really would like the security of being able to charge my phone and have arrange for people to pick me up or text my wife in case of emergency or things of that nature. So I kind of look at my phone as another security backup or whatever you want to call it. I think having a bigger battery bank for this trip really makes a lot of sense. The rest of what's in here is a few extra GoPro batteries, a GoPro charger, and a micro USB cable that has an adapter for USB-C, and that's about it. Next in here, I just recently bought this and haven't had a chance to use it yet. This is a Camping Moon windscreen for my stove. This thing's made out of titanium, so it's super lightweight. And I kind of figured since I'm going to be hiking exclusively high alpine that's notorious for high winds, I could really benefit using this with my MSR pocket rocket because that doesn't have a windscreen. Try to boil water with high wind with an open flame is really difficult, so I figured worst case scenario I'll be using this thing to accompany my MSR pocket rocket. And also I should note that I've cut a few panels off this. This thing was a lot bigger in the beginning, but I cut a few panels off this to make it fit just around my pocket rocket a little bit better. So continuing in these pockets, I have some toilet paper tablets. If you've seen my videos before, you'll know that I love these things because if you just add a couple drops of water, this turns essentially into a wet wipe. So for me, I just think that these are a lot better to use than toilet paper because a little goes a long way with something like this. So, and then also stuffed in here, I have my High Uinta's trail map. Like I said, I just like some manual navigation as well, just in case, you never know. Some hand sanitizer for whatever you use that for. And then this is definitely stuffed in here. If you watched my most recent video, you'll see that I recently discovered a new pillow. I just haven't really been a big fan of the air pillows. I used the air pillow by Outdoor Vitals for a while, and I always seem to be chasing it around my tent. I know people say that you can put a t-shirt over your sleeping pad and over the pillow as well, but either way, even if it stayed in the same place, it just isn't as comfortable to me as something like this. So I won't take this out right now, but this is the Wilderness Technology Twilight Pillow. And it goes from something this size to a much bigger pillow, more of what I consider a regular pillow, and it's done wonders for me. I sleep so much better with a real pillow. So this thing is still super light, not as light as an air pillow. I would say probably the biggest downside to something like this is just the space it takes up. I'm not used to my pillow taking up this much space, but still, all things considered, I think this is way better than sleeping with an air pillow. So I guess you could consider this one of my luxury items. So continuing in these front pockets, I told you these things carry a lot of stuff. This is my Sierra Designs, I believe it's Sierra Designs rain pants. Since the Uinta Highline Trail is a notoriously wet trail and there's generally thunderstorms every single night on the trail during the summer, these will be crucial. So the last thing in this other front pocket is my clothes bag. Normally I wouldn't take this many clothes on a trip, and this is a little bit heavier than what I would like. But with the nature of the Uintas being such an unpredictable weather pattern, I've seen plenty of times where the temperatures will randomly drop in the Uintas. It'll get super windy. There'll be unseasonable snowstorms or something like that. So I have one pair of merino wool thermal pants, one merino wool thermal shirt, one pair of waterproof socks in here. I usually hike with the Darn Tough merino wool socks. I'll still be hiking with those, but having some waterproof socks when they say a lot of the trail turns into almost like a bog at times because it's so wet up there, I think waterproof socks will be super handy up there. And the other thing that's in here is 2 really lightweight knee braces. I've been having some knee issues on some really steep trails like the Mount Olympus trail. I had a considerable amount of knee pain coming down, so they're pretty lightweight, and I wouldn't really call them a knee brace. They're more of a knee compression sleeve, I guess. But having a little bit of extra knee support when hiking up and down peaks all day, I think wouldn't be a bad idea. So that's what's in here. So all this was just in the front of the pack. I'm gonna set some of this stuff to the side so we can get into the rest of the pack. So I guess there's one more section that I didn't really think about that's on the outside of the pack, and that is these hip belt pockets here. So I just have a small buff for wiping my face or whatever I need that for. This is a new thing for me as well. This is a mosquito head net. This thing doesn't really weigh anything and it's pretty minimalist. However, July just so happens to be the peak mosquito time for the Uinta Highline Trail, and it's notoriously miserable considering mosquitoes out there. I've seen a lot of videos of people say they wish they would have brought a bug net, so I'm definitely going to try that this time. Never used one really, but I think it'll pay dividends later. This is the Sunbum SPF 30 sunscreen stick. I haven't really used sunscreen sticks either, but it seems like a pretty good idea considering whenever I have a liquid sunscreen, I just don't use it. So I think this will be a lot better to put on dry, use on my face, or whatever I need to use it for. So anytime you're hiking up high alpine, you'll know that the sun is just brutal up there. So, and then lastly in here is my Black Diamond. I can't remember the name of this headlamp, but it is USB chargeable and I really like it. I mean, I don't really use headlamps a ton on trail, but they are nice to have, and sometimes I'll use them on my tent. I don't really typically do a lot of night hiking, but on a long trip like this, you just never know. If you take too many breaks in the day, you might end up doing some night hiking to try to stay on pace, you know, get to where you want to go. So I like the fact that this is USB chargeable. Yeah, it's been great so far. And as far as this hip belt pocket goes, I don't currently have anything in there, and that's generally because I keep snacks in these for easy access while hiking. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this pack here. So the first thing I can pull out here is my Mountain Hardwear tent footprint. This didn't come with my tent, but it fits almost perfectly. So this is pretty lightweight, nothing special about it. Next we have this is an REI down jacket. I've treated it with a hydrophobic down wash from Nick Wax. It seemed to do decent with water whenever I tested it. I don't think it's waterproof, and down generally isn't the best thing to carry when there's heavy rain conditions. However, I don't really have another good option for a lightweight jacket, so this is what I've got. I anticipate that if it gets super cold while it's raining, I'll just throw this on under my rain jacket. I know it's not ideal, but so next is part of my food bag. I have my whole food bag right here, but I've kind of had to split my food bags up into two because I currently have the Hilltop Packs large food bag, and I think they recommend it somewhere less than 7 days, and that's pretty much exactly accurate because I initially packed this for 8 days. Like I said, I was planning on doing the whole Uinta Highline Trail. A little bit of these snacks will come out and a little bit of this food will come out, and it'll be a little bit closer to fitting in there. However, I still don't think it'll carry 7 days worth of food, maybe 6, probably more like 5. So, or as I start on the trip, obviously these will get a lot smaller and lighter. For now, this is what it looks like, but it'll shrink a little bit by 1 day's worth of food here in the coming days. So probably as I pack this back up, I'll take those 1 day's worth of food out. And yeah, so this is part of my food. This is mainly a bunch of nuts and things like that. I'll do a better video specifically on my food setup for the Uinta Highline Trail, but in this video we're just talking about what's in my pack. So this is one of the things that's in there. This is another Outdoor Vitals item. These are their down booties, and one of the things that sold me on these is they say you can put wet socks and wet feet into these at night and still get the warming benefits of the down because it's a hydrophobic down, and you can potentially dry your feet out by the morning. So considering again that this is going to be a super wet trail, I think these things will be crucial. I don't like to have cold wet feet, and that's kind of inevitable when you're on a trip like this. So I mean, these things pack down super small and they're super light, so I definitely don't think I'll regret bringing these. Another thing on top here is my rain jacket. This is a White Sierra rain jacket. It's just something that I picked up in my local gear shop. Nothing special. It's pretty lightweight, pretty small, so just a regular rain jacket. Let's see if I can get this out of here. This is the Mir Lanshan 1. I've been using this thing quite a bit. I really like it. Trekking pole tent. Super light, and it packs away pretty well, so that's my tent. Also on the top here I have a sun hat. This is kind of like a little boonie hat with the flap here, just for sun protection. And here is my Nemo Astro sleeping pad. Nothing special, it's not insulated, doesn't have a high R value, it's just a nice comfortable sleeping pad. And then here is the bulk of the pack right now. You can see how big this is. So I recently figured I'd give Hilltop Packs a try. This is one of their custom food bags, the large size. I have like I said, currently this is roughly between this and that bag right there, 8 days worth of food. So I'll be taking a little bit out of here. But yeah, it seems like a super nice quality. I haven't used it yet. It's definitely supporting quite a bit of weight right now. And I thought it was pretty cool that I could make a custom food bag. So this has my channel logo and stuff on it. And yeah, it seems pretty cool. And this looks like the last thing in the pack here. This is a recent combination of things I've come up with. So I've always used my Aegis Max Ultralight sleeping bag, but I've also recently been supplementing it with an Alpine Ridge Outfitters down blanket. You may have seen that in some of my other videos as well. And the reason I do this is because the Aegis Max sleeping bag is really more of a 3-season bag. Whenever it dips down into the 30s or 40s, maybe even low 50s, it can get pretty cold in that bag. It doesn't have a mummy hood or anything. It's more of a quilt, and that's really the way I use it. I kind of unzip it and put my back on the pad, and so whenever it gets really cold, I can either take the down blanket and put it over myself to kind of create another barrier, or another thing I can do is stuff the sleeping bag with the down blanket, and that increases the warmth of the sleeping bag so much. And really, this whole setup right here is only a couple of pounds. A lot of sleeping bags you'll find that are rated into the high 3 season, kind of extending into that 4th season a little bit, are going to be over 2 pounds anyways. So this is a pretty small package with a lot more flexibility. So I really like this setup. Once again, the weather in the Uintas is extremely unpredictable, so I'm definitely liking having something like this. Probably for most nights I'll just use the sleeping bag, but having that extra layer of insulation is super nice. And yeah, so I think that's about it. Maybe another thing to mention is this backpack can kind of double as a sit pad. So if I'm ever out and I really want to sit down on a rock or something like that, I can kind of pull this back pad out and use it as a sit pad. But other than that, there's not really anything left in this pack. So yeah, I think that's about it. I'll be posting a couple more videos when I get back. If you're interested in any of that stuff, make sure to like and subscribe. Maybe hit that bell notification so you can get notified whenever I get back and start uploading those videos. And like I said, thanks for hanging around, and I'll see you in the next video.